Hi, everyone. Welcome to another Financial Aid Friday. My name is Belinda. I am the Associate Director for Financial Aid and Veterans Outreach, and I'm here to chat with you today about how you can prepare for the spring semester. Part of my job is to talk to you about the different ways that you can pay for college, including financial aid, veteran benefits, and other ways that you can find money like with scholarships. So today, it's really just to get you prepared for the spring semester, how to plan for it, what are the steps that you need to take. This session is really good for any students that are planning to attend ACC, whether you've been to ACC before or this is your first time joining us. We're really excited to share this with you, so let's go ahead and dive in. All right, so the first thing that I like to cover with y'all is first and foremost that you should apply for financial aid. If you haven't applied for financial aid before, this is the best opportunity to get the most out there when it comes to paying for college. There's still time to apply for spring 2023, and that's what we're going to really do today is break down what those steps are to apply, and then if you've applied before, what your next steps are and how you can expect to pay for classes. So if you haven't applied for financial aid, your first step is going to be to apply at the studentaid.gov website, and that can be found at studentaid.gov/FAFSA. The FAFSA is a short way of saying free application for federal student aid. So if you've heard that before, or you haven't heard it before, just know it's the primary application to get financial aid while you're attending college. With this one application, you can apply for grants, which is free money that you don't have to pay back. You can apply for loans, which is borrowed money that you do have to pay back eventually with interest. And then also work study, which is a type of part-time work. So a lot of cool things go into that one application. You just have to submit that once a year so that you can continue to get financial aid while you're in school. On that application, it is going to ask you what colleges you'd like to send your application to. So you want to make sure that you add ACC to your FAFSA application so that we do get a copy of it. When you are on that application, you're also going to see that there's two different applications out there on the FAFSA website. It can get pretty confusing when we're in the middle of a school year. So the best advice I have for you is just complete both applications that are available. One of them will get you financial aid for this current school year, including the spring semester and the summer. And then the other application is going to get you financial aid for next school year, starting with fall of 2023. So when in doubt, just do both. You will basically set yourself up for now and the future. On that application, you will enter information about your income, about your background, also about your family, depending on how old you are. All of it is lumped together to get us a better idea of what we can offer you and what you're eligible for. It does take about probably 5 business days for us to receive your application. So just know that there's that delay once you submit and us receiving it. And then once we have everything we need from you, sometimes we do have to collect additional documents. It can take several weeks to process. So just know that this process can take some time. And that's why we encourage you to get started now, especially if you haven't already started. There could be additional documents that we need to collect from you. So step 2 in this process is actually tracking your status on our website, self-service. So tracking your status really just requires you to check your self-service portal, which is where you do a lot of things here at ACC. That's where you can register for classes. That's where you can track your financial aid. A lot of stuff happens here. So if you're not familiar with it already, you will definitely get familiar once you start school. But on the self-service portal, you're going to be able to see if we have your FAFSA application and if there's any additional documents we need. So you want to definitely make sure you're tracking that regularly so that you don't miss out on any important information. Next is accepting your offer. So it can take, again, several weeks to process your financial aid, but once we are done with that process, we are able to offer you different types of assistance. So I mentioned earlier, the FAFSA is an application for grants, loans, and work study. So when you are accepting your offer, this is really where you're going to see what we can give you to help you pay for your spring semester. This process is especially important because it can also help us prepare to pay for your spring tuition. So if you have financial aid that you're expecting and you've already accepted it, it gives you a really good idea of how much money you're going to be able to get you through that spring semester. After you're done actually accepting your offer, then you go into the best part of this process, which is actually getting your financial aid to cover your tuition and then also receiving any remaining funds that are available to you. And I'll walk through this process with you because it can be a little different depending on your situation. So when it comes to actually paying for classes and receiving your funds, financial aid does actually get applied to your tuition before anything. So we will apply any financial aid that you've accepted to your tuition once your classes start. So if you're a student that has already accepted their financial aid and you're just kind of waiting for that financial aid to pay for tuition, just know that that actually doesn't get paid out until your spring classes start. But there are ways that you can secure your classes now. So your financial aid, again, won't get paid until your classes start. But in the meantime, what you want to do is make sure that you do have enough financial aid to cover everything. There are a few different scenarios that I'll walk through so that you can see where you're at and what your next step is going to be. So if you do have enough financial aid to cover your balance, then you actually don't need to make any sort of payment arrangements with ACC. We're going to use that financial aid to pay for your classes, and then you basically will get whatever's remaining so you can use it for the rest of the semester. You can use it on anything like books, supplies, day-to-day expenses that you might have for the semester. So you really can budget that based on what you need and budget it accordingly. So again, if you have enough financial aid to cover your balance, you don't need to make any sort of payment plan. You're pretty much set. You can hang out until classes start. That's when we'll actually pay the tuition, and then you'll get anything remaining. ACC does credit that money back to you if you do have extra money. So for example, let's say your financial aid is about $1,000 that you're expecting in financial aid, and your tuition is only $500. That means we're going to use that $1,000 to pay for your tuition once your classes start, and then the extra money will go to you as a refund. And you could, again, use that for anything that you need throughout the semester. It's a pretty sweet deal. If you do have your financial aid accepted, it's really just a waiting game at this point for that spring financial aid to be paid out, but you don't have to worry about anything in terms of paying for your classes. You don't need to worry about any payment deadlines if you do have your financial aid accepted and it is enough to cover your balance. Now, there is a different scenario that I want to clarify too. Let's say you have already accepted your financial aid, but you notice it's not enough to cover your tuition balance for spring 2023. That's where you do want to make sure you set up a payment plan beforehand. So if you've accepted your financial aid, but it's not enough to pay for your classes, you do want to make sure you set up a payment plan for your classes before January 3rd. That's going to be our first payment deadline here at ACC. We do help students set up that payment plan. You can give us a call at our Student Affairs Help Desk. You can give us a call anytime we're open. That number is going to be 512-223-4636. That's the Student Affairs Help Desk. And we'll basically help you use your financial aid to help set up that payment plan if you don't have enough financial aid to cover the rest of the balance. So it makes it really easy for you to just worry about what financial aid doesn't cover with that payment plan. There is also potentially a third scenario. Let's say that you just started this financial aid process. You don't have your financial aid set up before that first payment deadline. There's no financial aid for you to accept just yet. What I recommend in that case is if you're ready to start ACC, go ahead and register for your classes and make sure that you are setting up a payment plan for your classes while you wait for your financial aid to be processed. Since this process can take some time, that's really the backup plan that I recommend, is making sure you set up your payment plan so that once your financial aid is processed, that can just get paid out to you, but at least your classes are secured in the meantime. So I did go through a lot of scenarios, and if any of this feels overwhelming, that's totally okay. We know that this is a lot to navigate. So we want to make sure that you know we're here for you, and we can break this down one-on-one with you. We can break this down over phone. We can talk through your specific scenario and your specific questions. So really feel free to reach out to our team anytime, whether you're first starting out or you're in the middle of these steps and you're kind of confused on what's next. Definitely come to us and we'll help get you right on track so that you're ready to start in the spring semester. So this is really all I wanted to cover with y'all today, is really knowing what the steps are to apply for spring 2023 and knowing the difference between whether you have enough financial aid to cover it or if you don't. So I want to open it up to any questions that you all may have. If there are any people in the audience right now that have questions about what I've just covered, please feel free to share them in the chat so that we can answer your questions. And also we'll share some more information at the end so you know where to go if you do have questions that you want to ask with us one-on-one. So I'll give it a little bit of time. All right, so it looks like there aren't any questions at the time. I do want to share at least one more frequently asked question that I think would be helpful to know. So we do get questions about students who may have already started the fall semester and they already applied for financial aid and they don't know really what to do next to make sure their spring is good to go. So the question usually is, do I need to reapply for spring financial aid if I already submitted my FAFSA for fall? And that's a really good question. The good thing about the FAFSA is you don't need to reapply in the middle of the semester. The FAFSA does cover one whole school year. So if you've already applied for financial aid for this year, that means you've already secured your financial aid for fall, spring, and for summer. So that's really great. That means you're on top of one whole year of financial aid. What you would do is just make sure that your financial aid is enough to cover your spring tuition. That way you don't miss out on any important payment deadlines. And again, if you need any help double checking that with us, definitely feel free to reach out to our team. We are there for you and we want to make sure everything is crystal clear so that you can start the spring semester strong. All right, so it looks like Paula does have a question. Hi, Paula. Thanks for joining us today. So it looks like you're asking, what are all the different documents needed to apply? That's a really great question. So going back to step one, I mentioned the first step is to actually apply for financial aid. Some of the documents that you want to have handy when you're getting ready to complete that FAFSA application are proof of your income for the 2020 or 21 a year. So since there are two different FAFSAs out there, they both go off of different income years. So I would say just have your 2020 income and your 2021 income ready. Depending on which FAFSA you'll do, you'll use one over the other. But it will tell you clearly on the application which income you're reporting. You also want to have any personal details available. So you want to have your name, your social, your date of birth available. I know sometimes it's hard to memorize social, especially if you're first time in school too. But definitely just make sure to have those personal details available as well as any income information available. If at any point you're confused through that application, again, that's where I would recommend chatting with our office. But generally speaking, in terms of documents that you'll need, at least maybe a copy of your tax return if you did file taxes in 2020 or 2021, or if you didn't file taxes, maybe a copy of your W-2s. If you didn't earn any income in either of those years, that just makes it a little simpler in terms of documents. That means you don't have to have any documents ready. You can just enter that FAFSA and start inputting your information. It usually does take about 30 to 40 minutes to complete that application. So the other thing I do recommend is just making sure you're setting aside some time to get through that full application. But great question, Paula. Thanks for asking it. Great. So I'll give it just a little bit more time in case there's any other students joining us that have some questions about this process or maybe anything else that is lingering in your mind about financial aid. All right, so it looks like we don't have any other questions. So I'm going to go ahead and wrap up today's Financial Aid Friday session. Thank you, everyone who joined us today. Shout out to Paula for the question. I hope you all have a great Friday and definitely feel free again to reach out to us anytime you need support. We're here to help. Thanks again, y'all. Happy Friday. Bye.